You were not born to be safe. You were not born to stay warm, tucked away in routines, dulled by predictability, numbed by comfort. You were not designed to live the same day, week, month, year over and over again, pretending it's a life. Something in your soul knows this, knows that comfort is a lie, a seductive, silent poison that seeps into the corners of your ambition, convincing you that fine is good enough, that maybe later is a strategy, that I'm not ready is a reason. But deep down, there's a voice that knows. It whispers in the moments of stillness. It cries when you're alone. It aches when you settle. That voice is your potential suffocating inside your comfort zone. Because here's the brutal truth. Your comfort zone is not a sanctuary. It's a cage. Decorated nicely, sure, with familiar routines, predictable outcomes, and just enough success to keep you from chasing more. But a cage, nonetheless. And every time you choose what's comfortable over what's necessary, that cage tightens. Your energy shrinks. Your vision dims. Your fire fades. Until one day you look around and realize you've been walking in circles, moving but not evolving, surviving but not living. That's what comfort does. It steals your urgency. It robs you of risk. It replaces boldness with boredom and turns your future into a loop of someday. But someday is not a day on the calendar. It's a lie the comfort zone sold you to keep you tame. And tame is not your nature. You were born to climb, to conquer, to stretch, to become. And becoming never happens in comfort. It happens in collision, with fear, with resistance, with uncertainty. That's where you grow. That's where you build resilience. That's where your real life begins. Growth is never found in ease. It's found at the edge. At the moment your mind screams, turn back, and your soul whispers, go forward. The comfort zone wants you to listen to fear, to turn down the heat, to take the deal, to lower the standard. But the moment you do, you sell your greatness for crumbs. You see, every time you choose comfort, you reinforce weakness. You teach your mind that temporary relief is more valuable than long-term power. And the more you indulge that pattern, the more you erode your edge. Until boldness feels foreign, risk feels reckless, and change feels impossible. But the truth? Change is your only way out. You must confront the comfort, burn it down, stand in its ashes, and rebuild yourself in the image of someone unavailable for mediocrity. That is the standard. That is the requirement. That is the cost. No one drifts into greatness. No one slides into purpose. You don't stumble into strength. You forge it through fire, through failure, through the stretch of discomfort that most people spend their whole lives avoiding. But not you, not anymore, because your potential is screaming from inside that comfort zone you've called home. It's screaming to be tested, to be tempered, to be unleashed. But that doesn't happen when things feel good. It happens when you do what's hard again and again and again, until the hard becomes normal, until pressure becomes power, until you look around and realize you're not the same. That's what discomfort does. It doesn't destroy you. It discovers you. It pulls back the layers of complacency. It reveals the grit, the hunger, the wildness you buried beneath safety and smiles. Discomfort reminds you you're still alive, that the pulse in your chest is not just for survival, it's for impact. You are not put here to live a neutral life. You are a storm wrapped in skin, and the comfort zone is too small for a force like you. But to reclaim that truth, you must unlearn the lies. The lie that you need permission. The lie that you need to feel ready. The lie that fear means stop. The lie that if it's hard, it's wrong. No, hard is not wrong. Hard is required. Because everything worthwhile is on the other side of hard. And comfort will never take you there. Only courage will. And courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward despite it. To feel the tremble and still take the step. To hear the voice of doubt and still raise your standard. To stand in the fire and say, let it burn. I am becoming. You want change? Earn it. You want power? Claim it. You want freedom? Fight for it. Because freedom is not found in the easy path. It is found when you master the hard one. When you discipline your body. When you sharpen your mind. When you lean into pain and make it your ally, not your enemy. Most people run from pain. The few? They run toward it because they know pain has a purpose. It teaches, it tests, it toughens, and every scar becomes a signature of strength. But you don't earn that in the comfort zone. You earn that in the trenches, in the cold mornings, in the late nights, in the moments where quitting seems logical and you keep going anyway. That's where transformation lives. In your choice to stay uncomfortable long enough to grow. Because make no mistake, comfort is killing more dreams than failure ever could. Failure teaches. Comfort traps. Failure reveals your gaps. Comfort hides them behind busy schedules and shallow goals. And worst of all, comfort doesn't come all at once. It creeps. One skipped workout. One delayed conversation. One more day of playing small. And slowly, your edge dulls. Your urgency fades. Your fire turns to smoke. Until you're just another person who had potential, but never pursued it. But not you. Not anymore. Because you've woken up to the truth. The comfort zone is not your friend, it is your enemy in disguise. A prison dressed as peace. A coffin that still lets you breathe. A soft death. And you're done dying slowly. From this day forward, you choose discomfort. Not recklessness, not chaos, but the controlled discomfort of growth. The stretch of new standards. The sting of self-honesty. The weight of self-respect. And when it hurts, good. That's the signal. That's the sign. That's the place where most turn back and you lean in. Because you're not here to repeat years. You're here to redefine them. And it starts with one bold decision. Step out of the comfort zone and into your calling. Because once you step into your calling, everything changes. The air feels different. The days feel sharper. Time stops slipping through your fingers and starts working for you. You walk differently. You speak with more weight. You stop asking for direction and start creating it. You don't need a map anymore. You become the map. Because once you leave your comfort zone, you stop following the crowd and start following your conviction. And that shift, that invisible internal revolution, changes your destiny. Comfort made you predictable. Purpose makes you dangerous. And when you become dangerous, the world responds. Not instantly, not with fanfare, but with resistance. Because when you leave the pack, when you rise above mediocrity, when you dare to grow, life pushes back. The wind howls. The road narrows. The light dims. That's not a sign to retreat. That's your invitation to rise. You don't find your strength when it's easy. You find it when there's every reason to stop, and you don't. That's the moment you level up. That's where you meet the version of yourself you were born to become the one comfort tried to bury. He's not scared. She's not timid. They don't flinch because they've been forged in the flames of effort, repetition, resolve. The kind of resolve that doesn't just touch your habits, it transforms your identity. You no longer try to be disciplined. You are disciplined. You no longer hope to be consistent. You live consistent. You no longer wish for more. You become more. And the moment you become more, your life expands to meet you. Doors open that didn't exist before. Opportunities find you that never even knew your name. Not because you were lucky, because you were ready. And readiness doesn't come from comfort. It comes from confrontation with your laziness, your excuses, your old story. And that story, it's time to rewrite it. Burn the chapter where you play small. Tear out the pages where you shrink. Delete the lines that say, this is just who I am. Because that's not who you are. That's who you settled for under the spell of comfort. But now you see it. Now you know. And once you know, you can't unknow. You can't go back to pretending comfort is peace. You can't sit still and call it joy. You can't fake fulfillment with filtered photos and fleeting likes. Because once your potential has been awakened, silence is suffering. Stagnation is pain. And comfort? Comfort becomes unbearable. Because now you've tasted discomfort with purpose and nothing else satisfies. Now you've seen what you're capable of when you go past the threshold. Now you've met the version of you who doesn't fold, doesn't flinch, doesn't fade. And that version is waiting every day, just beyond what's easy. So when the alarm rings, answer. When the urge to quit creeps in, resist. When the old voice says, take it easy, go harder. Not because you have to, but because you get to. You get to train while others talk. You get to learn while others scroll. You get to build while others beg. You get to become while others just survive. Because discomfort is no longer your enemy. It's your invitation, your teacher, your proof that you're alive, that you're ready, that you're on the right path. And the right path, it's never easy. It's never obvious. And it's never inside the comfort zone. So step out, step forward, step through the fear, the fatigue, the uncertainty. Because everything you want is out there. But you'll only find it when you decide to leave where you are and never look back. Because this is the part where most turn around. Not because they're weak, but because they were never taught how strong they could be. You don't rise by waiting for motivation. You rise by walking when your legs ache. You rise by building when your hands are raw. You rise by believing when your mind screams otherwise. That's how you escape the gravitational pull of the comfort zone, by creating momentum in the moments where everything inside you says stop. And the comfort zone will beg. It will plead. Just one more day. One more break. One more excuse. But every time you give in, you trade your future for a feeling. And feelings fade. But discipline builds. One brick at a time. One decision at a time. One moment of defiance against the easy way. And if you keep stacking, you build an identity that doesn't bend. A spirit that doesn't stall. A mind that moves forward by default. Because you've burned the bridge behind you. And what's ahead is only earned in discomfort. Don't wait for clarity. Clarity comes after action. Don't wait for confidence. Confidence is built by doing scared. And don't wait for perfect conditions. They don't exist. What does exist is this moment, right now. And this moment is a crossroads. One road is paved with everything you already know. It's quiet, familiar, safe. The other road, it's steep, uncertain, rough, but it leads to more purpose, more growth, more freedom, more of you, the real you, the one buried beneath years of tolerating good enough. You won't find that person inside your comfort zone. You'll find them when you show up tired, when you push through failure, when you break old patterns, even when they scream to survive. And slowly, you'll realize this isn't about achievement. It's about alignment. Because when you break free from comfort, you align with your deeper self, the one who craves challenge, the one who thrives under pressure, the one who's hungry for greatness, not for applause, but for meaning. So forget motivation. Choose movement. Forget safety. Choose significance. And if you're waiting for someone to give you permission, here it is. You are allowed to want more. You are allowed to stop tolerating average. You are allowed to outgrow what used to feel like enough, because you weren't born for a lukewarm life. You were born to lead, to rise, to break generational cycles and redefine what's possible. But that only happens when you leave the comfort zone and never make it your home again. So burn the excuses. Burn the backup plans. Burn the false belief that staying safe is the same as staying alive. And move. Now, today, even if you crawl, even if you stumble, move. Because every step forward in discomfort is a declaration that you are done shrinking. And the world doesn't respond to potential. It responds to proof. Then listen close, because this is where you become unstoppable. Not because the path got easier, but because you got harder to break. You've walked through the fear. You've pushed past the doubt. And now there's no turning back, because your comfort zone is no longer an option. It doesn't fit you anymore. It doesn't challenge you. It doesn't change you. And if it doesn't change you, it's killing you. Because growth is life. Progress is purpose. And you weren't made to sit still while the world spins forward. So from this moment forward, you live by a new rule. If it's comfortable, it's not enough. You seek what stretches you. You chase what scares you. You embrace what forces you to evolve. Because you've realized the pain of growth is nothing compared to the agony of regret. You've seen what staying safe costs. Your fire, your voice, your edge. You've tasted what almost feels like, and you'll never settle for it again. And now, the hunger is real. Not for more things, but for more of you. More focus, more purpose, more intensity behind your actions, more alignment between who you are and what you do every single day. That alignment is power. Because when your actions echo your identity, you stop needing motivation. You don't wake up wondering what to do. You wake up driven to do it. You wake up possessed not by fear, but by a mission that burns hotter than your excuses. And yes, people will say you're obsessed. Let them. Obsession isn't a weakness, it's a weapon. Because the world was never changed by balanced, lukewarm people. It was changed by the obsessed, the focused, the unreasonable. The ones who looked at the comfort zone and said, that's not where legacies are built. Legacies are built in the stretch, in the space between who you were and who you're becoming, in the silence of hard decisions made with no applause, in the trenches of repetition where most quit and you keep showing up because now you don't need to see the finish line. You just need to take the next step and the next and the next. And soon you'll look back and realize your comfort zone isn't just behind you, it's beneath you. Because every time you chose discomfort, you rose. Every time you chose challenge, you evolved. Every time you chose the path that scared you, you stepped into who you were born to be. And now nothing can stop the momentum you've created. Because you've become the kind of person who doesn't fear pressure. You become pressure. Then we go deeper, because pressure is no longer your enemy. It's your proof. Proof that you're in the right place. Proof that you're not hiding anymore. Proof that you're standing on the edge of everything you've ever wanted, and now it's on you to lean in. No backup plan. No safety net. Just fire in your gut and a decision to never go back. You don't negotiate with your old self anymore. You don't explain your standards. You don't apologize for being intense, focused, or obsessed with your evolution. Because you understand now the version of you who lives in comfort is the version who dies with potential still inside them. And that's unacceptable. So you keep climbing, even when it's steep, even when it's cold, even when the world around you says, why are you trying so hard? Because you know exactly why. You're not doing this for likes. You're not doing this for followers. You're not doing this for validation. You're doing this because you refuse to live a life that's less than what you're capable of. You're doing this for the future you, the one who wakes up with peace because you never gave up, the one who walks into rooms with presence because you earned your confidence, the one who doesn't flinch when life throws fire because you've walked through it already. And now, nothing surprises you. Nothing shakes you. You've trained for the storm, and you've become the storm. Because every time you left the comfort zone, you weren't just chasing something. You were changing into something. A force, a standard, a walking embodiment of what's possible when a human being chooses courage over convenience consistently. That consistency, it's sacred, not glamorous, not sexy, but sacred. And you protect it like oxygen. You defend your habits. You guard your rituals. Because they aren't just tasks, they are temples. They are where you reconnect with who you are and who you refuse to be again. You are not here to flirt with potential. You are here to fulfill it in full. And every ounce of that fulfillment lives outside the comfort zone. So burn the bridge. Leave behind the excuses, the doubt, the fantasy that there's a painless path. There is no such thing. There's only pain with purpose or pain with regret. And you are not here for regret. You are here for rebirth, for rise, for recognition. This isn't about changing your habits for a week. This is about becoming someone you never again have to apologize for. Someone who is so disciplined, focused, and intentional that even life itself adjusts in your presence. Because when you leave your comfort zone long enough, you don't just change your life. You change who you are. Then brace yourself, because this is where transformation becomes inevitable. You see, there comes a point on this path where discipline turns into devotion, where discomfort no longer feels like pain, it feels like proof. Proof that you're alive, that you're growing, that you're no longer the same person who walked into the fire. At first, leaving the comfort zone feels like tearing something apart. But what you're really doing is building something stronger, something unbreakable, something the old you could barely imagine, and that something is you, reborn through resistance. Because resistance isn't here to stop you. It's here to sharpen you, to reveal to you just how much you've been leaving on the table, how much strength was dormant, how much power was hidden beneath convenience and excuses. The longer you live in the stretch, the stronger you get. Not just physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You stop asking, when will this get easier? And start declaring, I'm getting stronger. That shift is everything. Because the world doesn't need more people playing it safe. It needs leaders of resilience. People who have tasted the fire and chosen to keep walking. People who don't just talk about goals, they become the kind of person who achieves them. And here's what they never tell you. You don't attract success by chasing it. You attract success by matching it in standards, in discipline, in identity. You want to live like a lion? Then stop walking like a lamb. Stop waking up with the mindset of survival. Start rising with the resolve of someone who refuses to die full of what ifs. You are not a machine. You are not an algorithm. You are not here to live the same scripted life that billions have already accepted. You are a force of will. You are a spark of something divine. If you dare to let it burn long enough to shape you. And yes, it will cost you. Comfort, approval, familiarity, old relationships that want the old version of you to stay. Let them go. Let them stay behind in the life you've already outgrown. Because the life you're building requires room, and not everything and everyone can come with you. You will be misunderstood. People will call you too intense, too focused, too serious. Let them, because one day those same people will say you're lucky, that things just worked out for you, that you always had it in you. They'll never see the price you paid, but you will feel the freedom you earned. And that freedom, it's found not in the absence of struggle, but in the presence of purpose. When you know who you are, where you're going, and what you're willing to do to get there, you become dangerously clear. You become immune to distraction, resilient to resistance, and alive in a way most people will never understand, because most people choose to survive. But you chose to become. Then let's keep going, because we're nowhere near done evolving. You see, when you finally choose becoming over belonging, discipline over distraction, and growth over comfort, something unlocks inside you. A sense of alignment that doesn't come from doing what's popular. It comes from doing what's right for you, for your path, for the legacy you refuse to leave undone. And that alignment, it's magnetic. It starts attracting people, opportunities, moments not because you're chasing them, but because you're in integrity. The internal war is over. You're no longer pulled between who you are and who you pretend to be. You've become real. You stop outsourcing your identity to opinions. You stop watering down your potential to make others comfortable. You stop apologizing for your fire. Because now, you understand your job is not to be liked. Your job is to be lit, to burn so bright with vision, clarity, discipline, and purpose that everything not meant for your life burns away with it. And yes, it's lonely sometimes. But you'd rather walk alone toward your calling than be surrounded while you shrink. That's the sacrifice. That's the price. Comfort asks you to stay invisible. Growth demands that you stand out. And standing out isn't about being loud. It's about being undeniable. A presence that doesn't beg for attention, it commands respect. Because you've earned it. Through the early mornings, when you wanted to sleep. Through the silence where no one cheered you on. Through the nights when the only voice pushing you was your own. That voice, the one that kept whispering, "Keep going," is now your anthem. And you've built something far more powerful than motivation. You've built momentum. Momentum doesn't ask how you feel. It doesn't wait for the perfect time. It's a force that feeds itself, and it's only fed by consistency. You become the kind of person who doesn't stop because it's hard. You stop when it's done. That shift in identity changes everything. You walk into the gym differently. You sit at your desk differently. You speak to others differently because you know who you are now. You've been forged, tested, tempered, and your comfort zone? It's not even a memory anymore. It's just a warning label you'll use to teach others what not to become. Because now you live with conviction. And conviction is rare. It cuts through the noise. It silences self-doubt. It wakes you up before the alarm. It pulls you forward when everything says, rest. Conviction doesn't come from talent. It comes from alignment, discipline, and action. And you are now a living example of what's possible when a human being stops running from discomfort and starts running toward it. Because we're not done until you feel it in your bones. Until the old version of you is just a shadow you outpaced. Until every excuse, every delay, every maybe later melts under the weight of your new standard. Because that's what this really is, a standard. Not a phase, not a goal, not a 30-day challenge. This is the line in the sand that says, I will never again live below my capacity. This is the moment where you stop tolerating your potential and you demand it. And when that becomes your standard, life shifts. The way you walk into rooms shifts. The way people look at you shifts. The way you look at yourself in the mirror changes forever. You no longer see someone trying. You see someone becoming. Someone who doesn't chase energy, they create it. Someone who doesn't need reminders because their vision wakes them up. Someone who no longer needs validation because their life is built on verification. You can fake effort. You can fake success, but you can't fake discipline. And you can't fake becoming. The world may not always see your hours in the dark, your sacrifices, your self-control, but one day they'll feel the result of them. They'll feel it in your words, in your actions, in the impact you leave behind. And they'll wonder how you did it. But the real ones know. They'll see it in your eyes, the fire of someone who left the comfort zone and never looked back. Who chose growth when it was ugly? Who chose action when it was lonely? Who chose vision over validation? That's who you are now. Not because you said it, because you proved it, because you earned it, because you became it. And that becoming is permanent. You can't unsee what you've seen. You can't unfeel the truth of what you're capable of. You can't crawl back into the small life you used to tolerate because you were born for more and now you know it. The only question that remains is, will you keep walking forward until the world has no choice but to move with you? Because the momentum is here. The standard is set. The comfort zone is gone. Now build. Now rise. Now lead. Because the version of you the world needs is already on the way. Then stand tall, because this is where it ends and where everything begins. Right here, right now. No more waiting. No more hiding. No more someday, because someday is the language of the weak. And you speak in declarations now. You've burned the comfort zone behind you. There's no turning back. You've stepped into the fire, and the fire didn't consume you. It clarified you. It revealed the truth. You were never meant to blend in. You were never meant to shrink. You were never meant to settle for a life that feels fine. You were meant to build a life that roars. And that life does not live in your comfort zone. It lives at the edge. It lives in the stretch. It lives in the places that make your voice shake and your soul awaken. You want to know who you are? Don't look for it in your routine. Don't look for it in your possessions. Don't look for it in other people's praise. Look for it in the place you're afraid to go. That next rep, that hard conversation, that new discipline, that decision to rise when everything says stay down. Because that's you, the real you, not the one comfort built, the one courage unleashes. And once you meet that version of you, even for a second, you will never again accept anything less, because the fire has been lit. And now you burn with purpose. No more hesitation. No more doubt. No more waiting for permission. You are the permission. You are the momentum. You are the power. So go. Take the shot. Launch the project. Start the thing. End the thing. Speak the truth. Build the life. And never, never return to the cage of comfort again. You've outgrown it. You've outpaced it. You've outlived it. Now live like it. Build like it. Speak like it. Walk like it. Because you are no longer a prisoner of comfort. You are a force of purpose. And the world will feel you now. You already know what needs to be done. You already feel the fire flickering in your gut. You already hear the whisper at night. There is more inside you. This isn't a matter of knowledge. It's not a matter of intelligence. It's not about waiting for one more podcast, one more book, one more sign. This is about execution. This is about courage. This is about whether you will live another day trapped in delay or break free and become what you were born to be. Because your destiny doesn't arrive by invitation. It arrives when you stand up, look your fear in the face and declare, enough. Enough waiting. Enough wondering. Enough wasting time asking for permission to be powerful. The clock is ticking, and here is the brutal truth. Most people will die with their greatness buried under comfort. Not because they lacked opportunity, but because they refused to move. They convinced themselves they had time. They told themselves tomorrow would be better. They clung to safety like it was salvation, never realizing it was a slow death in disguise. But you feel the urgency. You're done pretending that your ideas can wait. You're done putting off the conversations you need to have. You're done shrinking to fit the fears of people who've already given up on their own potential. You feel it in your chest, don't you? The tension between who you are and who you could be. The friction between where you stand and where you know you're meant to go. That tension is not anxiety. It's potential, pounding on the walls of your comfort zone. And it's not going to stop. It will keep whispering, keep pushing, keep stirring, until either you act or it dies inside you. And nothing is more tragic than a soul that silences itself out of convenience. You weren't born to repeat the same cycle year after year. You weren't built for routine mediocrity. You weren't designed to survive. You were built to build, to break through, to initiate movements, to speak, create, lead, ignite, heal, influence. But nothing happens until you act. The people who change their lives are not the ones with the most talent. They're the ones who finally decide that now is the time. Not when it's perfect. Not when they feel ready. Not when the critics stop. Now. Because now is all you ever had. Now is where momentum lives. Now is the only doorway to a future that looks different from your past. And here's what they won't tell you. You're not afraid of failure. You're afraid of visibility. You're afraid of being seen trying. You're afraid of giving your best and watching someone not clap. But the applause was never the goal. The alignment is living in a way that feels like truth, acting on the whisper before it turns into a scream, moving with urgency, not because you're scared, but because you're called. And if you're called, then comfort is the enemy. Because comfort is what happens when your dreams die of dehydration, when your spirit grows soft under the weight of delayed decisions. But if you want a life that breathes fire, you must become the kind of person who acts, decides, moves, builds before it's guaranteed, leaps before the net appears, speaks before they're celebrated, leads before they feel like a leader. And in doing so, you shift time itself. You stretch what's possible. You collapse timelines. You bend reality to match your vision because you refuse to wait. You made a choice. You declared with your energy, with your calendar, with your habits, with your voice, the time to act is now. Because the moment you act truly, unapologetically, without dragging your fears behind you, the world takes shape differently. You start to see things through the lens of ownership, not obstacles. You start to wake up with direction instead of distraction. You stop waiting for energy because action becomes your energy. You stop negotiating with your excuses. You stop explaining your inaction. You stop calling it patience when it's really paralysis. And that's the real tragedy. Most people think they're being strategic when they're really just scared, afraid of rejection, afraid of judgment, afraid of looking foolish. But leadership, real leadership, is the willingness to look foolish in pursuit of something meaningful. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to fail publicly. You're going to outgrow the people who want you to stay small. Good. That's the tax you pay for progress. That's the toll at the gate of growth. You don't get to level up for free. But here's the reward. The more you act, the less you fear failure. The more you move, the less you need motivation. The more you stretch, the more your capacity explodes. You don't become fearless. You just get so familiar with fear that it loses its power. You walk beside it now. You don't run from it. You don't beg it to go away. You look it in the eye and say, you don't drive this life. I do. That shift changes everything because now your habits are different. Your posture is different. Your voice doesn't shake when you speak because you've earned the right to believe in your direction, not because it's perfect, but because you started, and most people never start. They keep sharpening the pencil and never write the sentence. They keep researching and never launch. They keep dreaming and never wake up and move. But not you, not anymore, because now you know all your power lives in the present moment. All your potential is waiting on the other side of one committed action. And once you act, everything begins to accelerate. People start to notice, not because you shouted, but because your energy shifted. You walk in with a different frequency. You lead with quiet certainty. You no longer talk about change. You are change. That kind of momentum can't be faked. It can't be bought. It can't be taught in a course. It can only be earned by those who refuse to delay their destiny. So here it is, the choice. Will you keep repeating the patterns of hesitation? Or will you rise and start rewriting your life in real time? Not tomorrow. Not next week. Now. Now is the only moment that belongs to you. Now is where your power lives. Now is the birthplace of everything you say you want. So take it. Own it. Step into it. The time to act is now, and it will never be this clear again. Then stand tall, because this is the moment where everything ignites. This is where you stop chasing inspiration and become it. Where you stop asking the world to change and command it with your example. Because the time to act is not just now, it's right now. Before the doubt returns. Before the distractions pull you under. Before the noise creeps in and drowns your fire. Act now, because the version of you you're becoming doesn't live in later. They live in decisions made in the fire of now. Not someday. Not when it's easier. Not after you feel ready. Now, because every second you hesitate is a second you trade away the life you say you want. Every pause becomes a pattern. Every delay becomes a habit. And before you know it, the life you were born to live becomes just a memory of what could have been. But not for you. Not here. Not today. Today, you break the cycle. Today, you interrupt the story. Today, you stop telling yourself why it won't work and start working like it must. You stop overanalyzing. You stop explaining. You stop doubting your instinct, your power, your path, and you move. You act. You initiate. Because leaders don't wait. Champions don't ask for consensus. Creators don't wait to be discovered. They act until they're undeniable. So go build it. Go write it. Go say it. Go start it. Go lead it. Go launch it. Go live it. Whatever it is, move toward it like your life depends on it. Because it does. The life you could have had, the person you were meant to be, they're waiting on you to act. And the clock won't stop ticking. So, stop waiting for clarity and create it through commitment. Stop waiting for momentum and make it with movement. Stop waiting for the path to be paved and walk until you leave a trail. And when it gets hard, good. That's the price. That's the signal. That's the proof you're on the path. This is what transformation looks like. Ugly, awkward, lonely, powerful. Because nothing legendary is born in comfort. It's born in moments like this where you look at your life and say, I will no longer delay my destiny. You won't be perfect. You won't get it right every time. But you will be in motion. You will be aligned. You will be powerful. And in that power, you will remember who you've always been. A builder, a leader, a warrior, a vessel of fire, a mover of mountains, a force that refuses to fold. You don't need more time. You need more urgency. You don't need more permission. You need more courage. You don't need the world to believe in you. You need to act like you already do. And if you can carry that energy, that decision, that intensity, that non-negotiable action, the world will have no choice but to move for you. Not because you hoped, because you acted. And you acted with conviction, with vision, with no way back. Because once you truly decide, there is no reverse gear. Only forward. Only fire. Only now. The time to act is not tomorrow. It is not when the stars align. It is not when fear leaves. It is not when they understand. It is now. It is now. It is now. Move. Build. Lead. Begin. Ignite. Because the time to act was always now.